now calling the Thursday the 24th of February, now calling the band Stars, Syd played a disastrous set on the same bill as the MC5. The event was witnessed by Roy Hollingsworth of Melody Maker. 2 days later, on Saturday the 26th of February, the band played at the Corn Exchange again as support to the band Nectar. It was to be the last time Syd ever played live. The review for the concert on the 24th appeared in Melody Maker the following week, and after reading it, Syd appeared on Twink's doorstep and told him he was leaving the band. The date was the 2nd of March 1972. It's amazing to think that from the day Syd first performed as a member of Geoff, Mott and the Mottos on March the 11th, 1962, to the day of his last performance at the Corn Exchange on the 26th of February 1972 is virtually 10 years to the day.
In the 60s, this entire area was flat. There was just one building on its own, isolated, the Masonic Hall. Syd played here as a member of the Hollowing Blues.
The Hollowing Blues was a short-lived band who played here on at least one occasion, although it's difficult for anyone to remember with any accuracy. However, many bands played here, including Joker's Wild, and it is perfectly possible Syd also played here as a member of Those Without.
This is the exact spot where in the 60s Ken Stevens' music shop moved to from Petit Curie. In January 1968, I was in here with a couple of friends. We were trying out guitars. In walked David Gilmour, walked to the back of the shop, picked up a Fender Stratocaster, went over to the counter and said, "I'd like to buy this." "See you, Dave," we said as he walked out the door. 3 days later, we bought Melody Maker. On the front cover, David Gilmour joins Pink Floyd.
Just round the corner from Ken Stevens, we're back at the front of the Guildhall. This is a very important spot. Right here is the place where the legendary Stars gave the open-air performance on the Market Square on the afternoon of Saturday the 12th of February 1972. The same day as their second concert at the Dandelion Cafe on East Road. Instead of a film, sometimes the Regal had major groups play live. On November the 6th, 1963, Syd had a ticket to see the Beatles. However, the same day he was due to attend his entrance interview at Camberwell School of Arts. He decided to miss the Beatles performance, perhaps an early indication of his love of art over music.
As you can imagine, everybody asked me about the latest fashion trends. In the early 60s, this was Style Best Boutique, and everybody came here to find out what was the latest thing to wear.
Walking into the city centre from his home, Syd would have passed this shop, and it's certainly a place that he bought a lot of his clothes.
This is number 88 Regent Street, and this is where Syd stood with the photograph with his car.
Today the front of number 1 Hills Road looks totally different, but if you go round the back via Harvey Road you can still see some of the original buildings of what was the Perse Junior School, which David Gilmour first attended.
We're in Union Road, just off Hills Road. In the early 1970s, where I am now, was a boutique and what we called head shop called What's in a Name. This was run by a guy called Steve Brink, and he was the promoter of many of the concerts at the Corn Exchange, including the Stars concerts. And at the back of his shop is where Stars actually rehearsed for those concerts. Twink actually lived here for a while, and that's why the band rehearsed here. Here we are at number 60 Glisson Road. This is the birthplace of Syd Barrett, Roger Barrett, before the family moved to 183 Hills Road when he was 4 years old.
Most people don't realise Syd used the railway station quite a lot. He went up to London to visit the art galleries, to go to places like Kew Botanical Gardens, and also to do some shopping. The railway station is less than half a mile from where Syd actually lived, so he probably used to bike down here. The road you can see now is Station Road, and about 400 metres down is the junction with Hills Road, where you'll find the Botanical Gardens. In the 60s this was Cheshunt College. Stephen Pyle lived here with his parents, and this is where those without actually rehearsed, and then they also gave a concert here in the college lodge. There are so many beautiful buildings here in Cambridge that we often take them for granted. This is one in particular, just one more obscure location in the early history of Syd Barrett, and almost forgotten in the mists of time. This is the Botanical Gardens, 40 acres of stunning trees, plants, shrubs and flowers. It was a favourite place of Syd's father, who had his own set of keys, and Syd also loved coming here. 1967 was the summer of love, with flower power, psychedelia and leading the way Pink Floyd. My girlfriend Mandy Harvey had the idea to give out flowers to strangers. The local newspaper brought us to the Botanical Gardens to take photos. However, the pictures never appeared in the newspaper. Lots of people have heard about the park bench dedicated to Syd, but few seem to know its location. Well, you can find it right next to the fountain in the middle of the Botanical Gardens. The county high school was located just 100 yards from where Syd lived at 183 Hills Road, so there were many occasions when he bunked off school to go home and concentrate on his painting and art, which he much preferred to his school lessons. This part of the college is a fairly recent extension. This part is the original and where Syd came to attend part-time art classes organised by his mother and Mary Waters. It's also the location for the second ever live performance by the Pink Floyd Sound at the college's summer dance. The group consisting of Syd, Rado Bob Close, Nick Mason, Roger Waters and Richard Wright played here on Saturday the 22nd of May 1965. Also on the bill were Unit 4+2 and the Boston Crabs, who were the local band formed by Geoff Mott and the first Cambridge band to get a major recording contract in 1965. Homerton College, unlike the more well-known colleges, is not open to the public. So let's take this opportunity to have a look around the beautiful settings. This is the Great Hall and the largest place in the college, so the chances are the summer dance took place in here. This is the Purse, one of the most prestigious schools in Cambridge. This is where David Gilmour attended, and according to what he says in most of his interviews, a place he truly hated. That's a shame, because I have to say, of all the places we approached for help, they really went out of their way. Today it's a meeting room, but in the 60s this was the changing rooms. When David Gilmour attended the school, if ever he could not be found in his class, the teachers would always know to look in here, where they would find him practicing on his guitar. As one person told us, that was the only thing he ever wanted to do. Now we have a surprise for you. Take a good look at this hall. It's a very important location for fans of Syd. I can reveal that on Saturday the 19th of February 1972, Stars played here, along with another band called Such a Cluff and a disco. According to a review in the school magazine, Stars were billed as the boogie band and certainly lived up to their name. They were top of the bill and went on last, and the review is really good, so Syd must have been on good form for this performance. What a shame Roy Hollingsworth didn't review this performance instead of the one at the Corn Exchange. If he had, it's possible Syd's music career could have been very different. Sadly, we'll never know. David Gale was a very close friend of Syd's, and on one occasion, when David's parents were abroad, a group of people, including Syd, took acid at this house. Syd fixated on 3 objects for over 4 hours, to the point where years later Storm Thorgerson, who had been present at the gathering, used the 3 objects as part of the cover for Syd's album. The objects were a matchbox, a plum and an orange. Turn left out of the driveway of 183 Hills Road, and a few paces down is Blincoe Grove. Then it's a 2-minute walk to the Morley Memorial Primary School, which was Syd's first school. Some days Syd would be happy to go to school, skipping along with his sister Rosemary, but other days it would take a lot more and he'd be taken by his father. One of the teachers was Mary Waters, mother of Roger. After passing his 11+ exam, Syd's education continued at the County High School on Hills Road. "42 Rock Road was the home of Roger Waters. His mother was an ex-Communist Party member and a strong supporter of the campaign for nuclear disarmament, and Roger was the chairman of the youth section of the movement. In March 1962, Roger designed the poster for a local CND rally event, where a local group made their debut. They were called Geoff, Mott and the Mottos. It is rumoured Syd Barrett came up with the idea for Arnold Layne partly because someone stole some clothes from Roger Waters' mum's washing line. This is the garage at the rear of his home where Roger kept his motorbike. This is the house of Seamus O'Connell. Many people recall Seamus being closer to Roger Waters than Syd. In 1964, Mrs O'Connell sold the house and moved to Tottenham Street in London, a place Syd was later to lodge at when he started to attend Camberwell College of Art.